Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another week of Revelation. We're going through Revelation 17 today. Sorry about last week. I know we missed last week, but we're right back on schedule this week. And with me is Dr. Brian Gurman from Concordia Bible Institute. And Brian, why don't you give us a summary of what we did last week? Revelation, or 2 weeks ago, sorry, since it's been 2 weeks, refresh us on Revelation 16.
It was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? 7 bowls of God's wrath. So we're coming to some sort of climax because we've had 7s before, 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 bowls now of God's wrath. And we get this note that with these, the wrath of God is finished. So you get this sense like, okay, we're kind of getting toward the end of the book. It's chapter 17. We only have, 6 more chapters, I guess?
Yeah.
5 more chapters. And
5, yeah.
So it's kind of it's getting to the end. We finished with all 7. That's another thing that you get here is I think those 7 bowls. So you get all 7 in chapter 16. That's like an extension of the trumpets. Things are intensified. It used to be like just 1/4 or 1/3, and now it's all. And I do think this is God's judgment going forth when the word is proclaimed, when the sacraments are administered. And so we kind of talked about those images. This is giving us a picture, panorama, as it were, of God's judgment going forth in his holy things. So spiritual darkness, spiritual warfare, pseudo baptisms, all that kind of stuff. That was last week or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
3 weeks ago, whatever it was.
No, good. That was a great summary. I needed a reminder too, honestly.
Yeah,
there's so much to hold in your mind with Revelation. It's kind of.
I know there is. There is.
So why don't we, before we jump into the text, I just want to remind people, if you haven't yet checked out Concordia Bible Institute, they are now on YouTube. They've got a ton of stuff. I'm waiting for you to hit that 400 videos. 399 videos now.
This is it. 400 right here.
Yeah, this is the 400th video. So go check out Concordia Bible Institute. There's stuff for everybody. I'm telling you, it's great. Right now you're going through Deuteronomy. Is that right?
That's right.
Deuteronomy.
That's right.
And then you've got a ton of older stuff. You've got podcasts over here you can look at too, along with some matching videos for these. So really good stuff. Go check it out. And I think you can find out the other links on here. I won't go through it all, but they've got a Facebook and I think Instagram now and everything like that too. So go check that out. It's good stuff. All right, let's jump into the text.
Absolutely. Thanks for the plug as always.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's really good stuff. I can't overemphasize that. I'm not just saying that. I feel like sometimes people say, oh, he's just saying that because his guest is that. No, it's really good. The reason I have him on my channel is because it's good. So go check it out.
It's been a lot of fun. And I should say to the folks at CBI, really appreciate your time and partnership here. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What should we start with?
Let's first switch that to the ESV, and then let's read the first 6 verses of that. That'd be great. Yeah, I guess I'm sort of picky, maybe, but let's do ESV, and then read just the first 6 verses. Okay. Maybe that'll be a good chunk to start. It's got quite a bit in this chapter.
All right. Yeah, let's do it. Then one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the judgment of the great prostitute who is seated on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed sexual immorality, and with the wine of whose sexual immorality the dwellers on earth have become drunk. And he carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was full of blasphemous names, and it had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and jewels and pearls, holding in her hand a golden cup of abominations and the impurities of her sexual immorality. And on her forehead was written a name of mystery, Babylon the Great, mother of prostitutes and of earth's abominations. And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints, the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. Okay. That is a strong opening.
It's really powerful imagery, isn't it? It's pretty rich. It's kind of messy. It's poignant, maybe. It's powerful. It's a lot. So where do you start with something like this? One of the so do we, I don't know how well known this sort of thing, the great prostitute or the harlot of Babylon, maybe, I don't know, is that known? This is where it comes from, if it is something that is still kind of known, like, oh, the prostitute or the harlot, that kind of stuff. It comes from Revelation 17. I would start probably with the 7 angel business, one of the 7 angels. That keeps us connected to the ministry. We've talked, by now we're going through the book and we know pretty well, okay, the 7 angels is that ministerial group. And so we know them. And to have one of the 7 angels is the ministry, I think, and the connection is there too, just with the 7 bowls, right? One of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and said to me. So it's important that you keep that connection, that the same ones that we talked about in chapter 16, this ministerial group and the word and sacraments going forth, same business here. One of those 7, it's like the ministry will now show us the false church. We've had the true, and now we get a look at the false. And you can see that as we go through here. There's a lot of pseudo stuff, as I say, in this. And even the language of come, it's a unique form of the imperative to come. And the only other place it occurs in Revelation is in chapter 21, where the same thing happens with this angel from the 7, who's then shown the city, New Jerusalem. So like the other woman, the other church. It's like a tale of 2 women. Yeah.
What is that imperative? Why is that unique? What's that doing?
I think it's just connecting the 2. So they're saying it's only twice in the whole book, a unique way of saying come. And I think it's just connecting the 2. So saying, come look at this false bride, and then come look at this true bride. I think it's another way of saying there's really only 2 options here.
Yeah.
And yeah. So come look at it either way.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think that sets us up for this, to get us thinking about, okay, we're being shown, this is the ministry showing, putting on display a false church. And I think we do that from the pulpit. I think pastors, even to this day, point out false systems of justification, the pseudo stuff. I think it's important. So, yeah, that's, I think, what's going on here. Now, that's just the first little bit here. Come, I will show you the judgment of the great prostitute who is seated on many waters. I guess another thing that comes to mind here right out of the gate is that these many waters, we'll learn later, are people. So this prostitute is seated on many people, you could even say. I think in verse 15, we'll get a pretty clear indication. Go down to 15 if you can. Just scroll a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, there we go. The angel said to me, the waters that you saw where the prostitute is seated are peoples and multitudes and nations and languages. And so I think this is really important, because this false church rules through rulers or big dogs, powerful people on the planet. And here's another thing. This false church is, you could even say, incarnate.
Interesting.
You know what I mean by that? It's
Yes.
it's tangible, it's in people, it affects people, it's carried out through people, right?
Yeah. Right.
It's not just this floating around abstract idea. It's actually incarnate, which of course reminds us of the true church. So I think this, the many seated on many waters, this beast, or this prostitute, excuse me, the woman, she's called a few different things. Maybe I should do this too. She's called prostitute. She's called a woman. She's called a mother. She's also called a city, and that's Babylon. So you have to kind of keep that in your mind as you go through here. It's like woman, city, prostitute, Babylon, all kind of the same false church business stuff. Okay, so that's our introductory verse there. And so let's take, with whom the kings of the earth have committed sexual immorality, and with the wine of whose sexual immorality the dwellers on earth have become drunk. Now, that's also kind of interesting because we're dealing with, so sexual immorality is often found just throughout the Bible, often for spiritual infidelity. So the prophets speak about whoring after other gods, or, committing lewd acts with whatever pagan deities.
Now this is I've always thought of this as like maybe an incarnate idea too, right? You give you like participate, or you become that thing and give birth to that thing as well.
That's right. Yeah, I like that. It's like she rules through these people, and they propagate it by way of this, excuse me, it sounds like it sounds like Genesis 6. Thanks. In Genesis 6, it's like the sons of God see that the daughters of men are attractive and they're going after them. And Days of Noah stuff, it's like marrying and being given in marriage and Days of Noah stuff. And you're right. In places of the Bible where bad marriages happen, it's even told like, and some of them even had children, and it's propagating the spiritual infidelity. That's the big thing, the spiritual immorality, the spiritual. When you hear of, for example, Abe wants a wife only from his people, not from the Canaanites or something like that. Or Ezra, the book of Ezra has priests who were marrying, just getting involved in bad marriages. And the deal there is that it's corrupting the holy seed, or corrupting the spiritual confession. And so that was always, even Paul in 1 Corinthians 7 has advice about marriage and how to handle that and all that. Why you don't want to be unequally yoked, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that's what's going on here. I like the way you put it too, that this also connotes this propagation of it by way of sexual immorality. The wine, of course, she has wine because the true church has wine, and they're also drinking this. So again, in the prophets throughout the Bible, you have this language of the Lord having a cup in his hand, and he makes people drink as punishment. I'll force you to get drunk, basically, the prophets say. And here you have this, like, she holds a cup, she has wine, and they've become drunk. It's sort of like taking on their own punishment. The dwellers of the earth have become drunk. So this is like judgment of God stuff, false church stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to point that out. Like, this is the ministry pointing it out that, hey, you need to see this. I will show you this. So here you go. So I'll also point out that, this language of being in the Spirit. So verse 3, carried away in the Spirit. That was Lord's Day talk. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's Day. And so I think this is another way to get us connected to that. Like we're about to see a pseudo liturgy, pseudo false Lord's Day stuff. So carried me away in the Spirit to a desolate place or a desert, a wilderness. Again, we saw this in chapter 12, and that is the true church has a place prepared in the wilderness for 1,260 days.
Oh,
and here
right.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then here I'm going to the wilderness. I'm carried away in the Spirit into the wilderness. And you're wondering, what church will we find here? And that is a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, which is also churchly talk because scarlet is all over the tabernacle. Scarlet's all over the priests. And scarlet, of course, brings to mind also our Lord, his robe and what was stripped and all of this scarlet as a royal color or a kingly color. And so she's dressed with, do you have that picture I sent you? She's dressed with,
yes.
Throw that, I'm testing yours. Here we go. Yeah. This is, I think, William Blake. Yeah. So, I mean, this is a little different than like Albrecht Dürer, but William Blake has this picture where she's dressed in scarlet. Why is she looking, or why does she have the color of what's in the tabernacle, or what's in the temple, or what's on the priests? And that's because she's a different temple, a different tabernacle. So she has this scarlet stuff, and clothing too, of course. How's the true church clothed? Baptismal garments. And here's this scarlet garment, and full of blasphemous names, 7 heads, 10 horns. So yeah, she's seated on this beast, that's exactly what we saw in chapter 12. 7 heads and 10 horns, that's dragon stuff.
Yeah.
And so she's doing the work of the dragon, or you could even say she's one flesh. I mean, one flesh with the dragon. You can think of our Lord Christ with his church, the bride. They have a one flesh union going on there. I think Ephesians 5. And here it's like a union between the dragon and this false church. They're closely connected in this way.
That's interesting. So we have maybe the distinction between false church, dragon, true church, Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I think so. Blasphemous names, 7 heads, 10 horns. And the woman was clothed purple and scarlet. And again, this is churchly stuff. We have 2 brides. And adorned with gold, that's more tabernacle stuff. Precious stones, that's more, precious stones, we'll get that later in chapter 21 with the heavenly Jerusalem coming down. So there's going to be precious stones in a moment with the true church. She has precious stones here. And then again, purple, we'll have purple with the color of the heavenly Jerusalem. We'll have purple here. And she has a cup, a golden cup, which again, gold, tabernacle, all that stuff. But the cup's really interesting because there's going to be another cup. My cup runneth over, and all of the language of cup for what's in the true church. He took a cup after supper, so it sounds very sacramental. But she has a cup, and it's full of abominations and unclean things, and literally porneia, so like sexual immorality. And on her forehead, she has names written: Mystery of Babylon the Great, Mother of the just immoralities and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints and the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. Now, this is really rich because she has a cup, there's blood in it, and why is it the martyrs of Jesus? It's probably something we talked about earlier, but when you talk about Revelation, when it talks about blood, it's really interested with the blood of the Lamb. Here we have the blood of the saints, and it's what I like about it is like they're participating in the judgment. So if you read something like Psalm 75, in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and he makes all the nations drink, and they drink it down to the dregs, and that's part of their punishment. I will make you stumble around and be in a drunken stupor. And here she is in that drunken stupor. She's totally inebriated. She's not in control. And what's causing this? Yeah, there's a cup, and yes, there's drunkenness, but it's by the blood of the saints, like the saints whose blood may have been shed, martyrs of Jesus, it says. So they participate in this judgment. They are the means whereby he'll make her drunk, which is just really fascinating to think about. It kind of reminds me of the end of the book of Psalms where Psalm 149, the Lord will come and have judgment and make right what has gone wrong. And he'll put a two-edged sword in the hands of all of his godly ones. This is the honor that's due for them, and they're going to clean house too. There's some sort of, I'll give you seats and you'll sit and judge the 12 tribes of Israel. There's something like, you're going to be with me in this. And here it's like, she's already being defeated by the blood, by the martyrdom of the saints. Yeah. Their cry goes up, how long? And they're already participating in this judgment. So I think it's hard not to connect that also with the true cup and to think about,
right.
I think we kind of got into this last time. Remember in chapter 16 with all that blood talk, that judgment goes forth by way of the true cup. So there are two different cups, two pourings. You're going to consume death either way, or you're consuming. Yeah. Does that make sense?
That's kind of it does. That's what I was just thinking too, because it's interesting. Most people, I think, would read. I'm just going to pull the text back up.
Yeah, that's good.
I just find this interesting because before we had kind of talked about there are two things. You're consuming blood to your detriment or your benefit, essentially. But here it's like, when you read verse 6, and I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints, the blood of the martyrs of Jesus, it seems like it should be saying, how would I put it? She's the one persecuting them, and she's drunk on the blood because she's killed so many, kind of like a metaphorical kind of statement.
Yeah, that's right.
It actually, if we're tracking what we said earlier, it's and what you're saying now, it's a statement of judgment on her.
Yeah. I think so. And you'll remember in the previous chapter, again, all that talk of blood around the third bowl. Go back a chapter just while you have it there. Look at all that talk there. Where is it? Verses 4, 5. Yeah, right in there. They became blood. And then look at verse 6. They have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and you have given them blood to drink. It is what they deserve.
That's right. I forgot it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have this
that's so interesting because it's not what you would immediately think it means.
Yeah, I know. You've given them blood to drink. Well, what kind of blood? Or whose blood? Right. And again, it's the judgment that goes forth with the blood of Christ in the sacrament of the altar is also at work here, I think. So
it's interesting because the giving them blood to drink, and then for those who are antichrist, to their condemnation. It's a comfort in a way too. Like
that's
evil
right.
cannot win. It's
that's
impossible.
Right. That's right. Yeah. And even when it tries to do what it does, it kind of, again, it mimics the good, or in some ways it helps to bear its own twisted witness to the good, I guess you could
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Okay. Let's keep going, I guess.
Read this next section.
Yeah, so the kings, I'm trying to think of anything else that comes to mind there.
Oh, yeah.
The kings are united there, the people drink. So she makes drunk and is drunk, I guess, at the same time. But you'll notice also, so you get a little clothing talk and you get wine talk. So it's kind of like pseudo baptism and pseudo Lord's Supper. But it's interesting that you only get the hand and the head. And, the Son of Man had all of that imagery and description. And here it's just the hand, what's in the hand and what's on the head. And only then it's just for what's on, like in her hand was a cup and on her head with blasphemous names. So she's very empty. I think that's probably intentional. I think that's probably part of what's going on too. The Son of Man was given all this really full description. Evil is also empty. It's hollow. It's a lack.
But it looks nice.
But outwardly it looks enticing. In fact, at the end of verse 6, when I saw her, I marveled greatly.
Yeah.
Now, why is he marveling? And I think that you right on. I mean, you marvel for a few different reasons, but that's definitely one of them. And that is, wow, this is outwardly maybe impressive, maybe enticing.
That's interesting because in chapter 1, I remember, like you're saying, we get this awesome description. Like he turns to see this voice speaking to him.
Yeah.
It's the 7 golden lampstands, and then he sees like hairs that are white like wool, and eyes like fire, and
good,
like bronze and all of that stuff, right? His voice was like the roar of many waters. I think we saw that a couple times, and here we get two descriptions. But I in chapter 1, I had to go back to look. I remember him saying, "When I saw him, I fell at his feet as though dead."
Yeah.
And then he says here, "When I saw her, I marveled greatly."
Yes, that's right.
Kind of an
good.
Interesting
I like
comparison.
That. Yeah, I like that. I fell at my feet as though dead. And then here it's I marveled greatly. And maybe some of that marveling too. That's just left open, isn't it? Why are you marveling? Well, is it impressive in some way? Is it tempting? Is it in any way compelling? Is it, I guess that's part of is it a warning that, hey, if even John is marveling at this, we're not immune?
Yeah.
I marveled greatly when I saw it.
Right.
That kind of thing. And then, so the angel then says in verse 7, or maybe, you want to read the next chunk there?
Oh, sure, yeah. Do you want me to go 14? All the way? Sure, 14.
Might as well 7 to 14.
Okay. But the angel said to me, "Why do you marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns that carries her. The beast that you saw was and is not and is about to rise from the bottomless pit and go to destruction. And the dwellers on earth, whose names have not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, will marvel to see the beast, because it was and is not and is to come. This calls for a mind with wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman is seated. There are also 7 kings, 5 of whom have fallen. One is, the other has not yet come. And when he does come, he must remain only a little while. As for the beast that was and is not, it is an 8th, but it belongs to the 7, and it goes to destruction. And the 10 horns that you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received royal power, but they are to receive authority as kings for 1 hour together with the beast. These are of one mind, and they hand over their power and authority to the beast. They will make war on the Lamb, and the Lamb will conquer them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and those with him are called and chosen and faithful."
Okay. Yeah, thanks for reading. We've got a lot of mountains and kings. And some
sounds so much like just the antitype of like the one who is and was and is to come. Right
on. I was going to say, you're going to have to think this through with me. Like, on ontologically or deontologically. Yeah, so why do you marvel? I suspect that's maybe a warning where you get this, John is marveling, and the angel, why are you marveling? Here's how you see through it. I'll tell you the mystery of the woman. Again, there was the mystery of the gospel that needed to be fulfilled in chapter 11. And so here it's the mystery of the woman. And so let me expose the pseudo gospel. I think that's also, again, it's like, I just wonder how much we're in tune with this, with our own preaching, our own teaching. Part of the task of the ministry, I think, is to expose the false churches among us. So, to speak of them as such, or just to point out the pseudo baptisms that the world offers, justification systems, all that stuff. So why do you marvel? That's also part of preaching. Don't get too caught up in this. Why are you so caught up in this? Why do you marvel? I'll tell you the mystery of the woman and the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. I would say you're right on track. When you get the beast that was and is not and is about to rise, that's a direct contrast with, the one who is and was and is to come. Right?
Certainly seems like it.
Yeah, I know. So what does that tell you? Again, it's like this. There's not much substance there. It's just a counterfeit relationship to what truly is. Being is something to think about, I guess. To have being, does this false church really have any real substance to it? Any real time, material? This kind of, is it just a privation? Is it just a lacking or a parasite?
Yeah.
And so, I know we've talked about this throughout Revelation, but it does this in various ways about what evil is or how you think of it. And here's another one of these, and maybe you have more in the philosophy bank on this, but it strikes me as this is another way of negating or denying any real substance to evil.
Yeah, the is not is very strong for that, in my opinion. That the beast is not.
Yeah.
But okay, what we're talking about him, like
I know, right?
But so, like, what is it? What does that mean? Well, it's got to mean something. What is he? He's not in some way.
Yeah.
So it would seem like, okay, he's not as substantial as the one who is.
Yeah.
But the was is interesting. That's what's tripping me up a little bit. The beast that you saw was and is not.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to phrase things.
And that's it. Yeah, that is in the Greek. Was and is not. I think, the main point, I think, is, as you said, it's this contrast with what truly is.
Yeah.
And it's being relegated, certainly, ontologically diminished.
I wonder if you could think about it in terms of like passing away and coming to be as well, right?
The
beast has already passed away. The beast already was.
Oh yeah, there you
go. The beast
is
already defeated, right? The beast is already, his time has come. Well, he never really had a time, but
that's true. Is not. So maybe in that sense, it's already done before it started. He's about to rise, but he was and is not, and we can see this.
And he's about to rise to destruction. Like that's not,
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Right. So it's really, on the other hand, it's the one who is and was or is and was and is to come. And so here, the only movement, the only coming you'll see here would be going to destruction. So, the dwellers on the earth whose names have not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world will marvel to see the beast, because it was and is not and is to come. guess a couple of things here. One is this baptismal reality about having your name written in the book of life. The Lord knows those whom are his. And so here it's this, reference to the book. That's big in Revelation. Also later on, we'll have book of life. No mention of a book of death, by the way. These sorts of things sometimes trigger predestination conversations and things like that. But book of life is all positive stuff, all believers in Christ. The ones who have not been written in the book, they are also going to marvel, which strikes me because John marveled, right? John marveled greatly, but the angel said, "Why do you marvel?" So did he need some sort of, some curbing or correction? But there's going to be a marveling for all the people on the earth, all the dwellers on the earth whose names have not been written in that book. So, I guess, that's something to keep in mind too as we go through here. John himself marvels, take it as a warning, and here the marveling can get you in a tricky spot or captivated spot where you're not even written in the book of life. So I think it is a warning. That's also, I think, why you get this next, like another call for wisdom. Wait, we had this with the mark of the beast, right? 666. This calls for wisdom. This calls for a mind with wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman is seated. Now, anybody in the ancient world, they hear 7 mountains and they think Rome, city on 7 hills.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and yet at the same time, Revelation doesn't use the term Rome, doesn't say Rome. It says 7 hills or seven mountains. And I think that is intentional, that I don't think it's just relegated to Rome. And you've heard me on this, where it's not just exhausted by one city. Anybody who knows, 7, but it's also the fullness of the expression, I think, that any sort of Rome out there or Rome to come will be taken care of. The 7 heads are the 7 mountains. There are also 7 kings. So one thing could be more than one thing. I think this is good for just reading and recognizing the book of Revelation more broadly. One thing can be mountains and kings at the same time, which, that means that beast stuff. This is, again, why all the conversations about the mark of the beast and all that. It's not that easy to just pin down on one little thing. Because here, the 7 are both mountains and kings. So both the geographical stuff, think city of Rome or other cities in Rome-like guys. But then there's also the 7 kings, the rulers, the people, powerful and prestigious ones. That's all there in the 7 heads. It's both and at the same time. They are also this, 7 kings. It's really tricky, this next part, 5 of whom have fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. When he does, he must remain only a little while. There's, and then finally, there's an 8th, but it belongs to the 7, and it goes to destruction, which is kind of like, wait, so 5, 6, 7, 8, how's all this work out? And I think the deal here is, like elsewhere in the book, 6 is important for, hey, we're not yet at the 7th. Here, what's interesting is this talk of an 8th, but it belongs to the 7th.
That's Genesis talk, isn't it? That's like
it is
day, but it belongs to the 7th.
Yes,
day, which is the church, like all that.
That's right. I think it's like the epitome. You're absolutely right. I think it corresponds to that. So what would it be for the false church? I think for the false church, it would be like, this is the worst of the corruption. It belongs to the 7th. Like, you could say the epitome of churchly corruption, I think. Where it gets so bad.
No, I was sorry. You just made something click. That makes sense, because if we're tracking with what the woman and the beast are doing in the beginning, what we said, they're like imitating God. So then we have the was and is not and is about to rise from the bottomless pit. And
That's right.
and that contrasts with who is and was and is to come. So the main difference there is God is. He doesn't come from anything, right? He is. I'm not going to self-generating isn't the right term. Ase. He's ase. He's from self, right? From eternity.
From self.
So
diffusive of the from the self.
He just is, right? He just is. But here we have is not, and the beast actually comes from the bottomless pit. He comes from something else.
There
so
you
he's
go.
Not eternal. So I guess what I'm saying is, just like you said in verse 6, like 5 and 6 above, he can only give what he is.
Yes,
right?
that's right.
Life. He can only give destruction.
That's right.
So that's a very interesting was and is not, and is about to rise from the bottomless pit.
That's right. That's
Whereas
right. So his
incarnation, Christ comes from the Father. he's sent by, or I guess you could say sent by the Father. I don't know. I'm not so good with the Trinity lingo there, but he's second person of the Trinity. He comes from being itself, or God himself.
Yeah.
Himself. So it's an interesting comparison there.
I like the point there a lot about coming from the bottomless pit. It reminds me of hell being prepared for the devil and his angels. So that's where they're coming from. And they're not the originator of, they're not creating or originating. It's coming from something already made, this bottomless pit. And then turning against the Lord, turning against his people.
I think that makes sense of verse 11, right? The beast, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but it seems like you could say it's an eighth day. The beast, was and is not, is an eighth day, but it belongs to the 7, and it goes to destruction because that's what it gives in the eighth day.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's like there's got to be some counterpart lingo to the day 6, day 7, day 8, as it were, but connected to the 7. Only this is the false church, and so I think this is, it's like it's somehow the epitome of churchly corruption. It belongs to the 7th, and it's just like a mimicry or a mocking of what truly is on the day 5, 6, 7, 8th day, right? So,
interesting.
Okay, so the 10 horns that you saw are 10 kings. Yeah. So again, horns. I just think, again, horns of the altar also comes to mind. But 10 horns.
Oh, yeah.
10 kings. This kind of 10 as this complete or pervasive number. So it has some overlap with how 7 functions, but 10 completeness. Not yet receive royal power, but they are to receive authority as kings for 1 hour together with the beast. And the time, it's interesting. I don't know. The hour has not yet come, and
that's interesting.
It's a limited time. There was a half-hour period of silence in chapter 8. Remember that with the liturgy?
Yeah.
Heaven was silent for a half hour. And I don't know. I think this kind of 1 hour thing is, again, it corresponds to like the day, the hour. That is what the true church has, this 1 hour. So they're going to get authority for a discrete amount of time. It's not going to last. They're of one mind. So this is interesting. They're in this kind of one flesh union, if you want to call it that. And they have they hand over their power and authority to the beast. So this is kind of like chapters 12 and 13, where the unholy trinity, you have dragon and then beast. And so there's a handing over of power and authority to the beast. They'll make war on the Lamb, and yet the Lamb will conquer them because he's Lord of Lords and King of Kings. And those who with him are called and chosen and faithful. I like this little bit here because in other parts of Revelation, don't you remember how you get this like, and then they'll conquer God's saints and they'll be allowed to, kill them or whatever the case is. And you have these moments of like, oh man. sure looks like God's people are being overcome.
Yeah.
And given the beast or the evil is given permission to do a certain thing or to have a certain time or a certain way. And it's just, that's tough. And here it's like, by the way, the Lamb's going to conquer everything. Like, he's King of Kings and Lord of Lords. I like that because it's very comforting. It's like earlier in the book, there's some suffering, there's some cross, there's some persecution. And the more you get to the end, the more it's like, by the way, the Lamb's going to totally clean shop. He's Lord of Lords and King of Kings. And those with him are called, chosen, and faithful. Yeah, it's good. So, I guess that's good for there. If you want to read the rest of it, we can.
Oh, sure.
We can take this last chunk. It gets really interesting here, and you can help me think this through too.
Sure. And the angel said to me, the waters that you saw where the prostitute is seated are peoples and multitudes and nations and languages. And the 10 horns that you saw, they and the beast will hate the prostitute. They will make her desolate and naked and devour her flesh and burn her up with fire. For God has put it into their hearts to carry out his purpose by being of one mind and handing over their royal power to the beast until the words of God are fulfilled. And the woman that you saw is the great city that has dominion over the kings of the earth.
Okay. The waters that you saw, we mentioned this earlier, like seated on many waters, and the fact that many waters is a reference to people. And so that's one thing, this kind of, I don't know, what would you say, evil becoming incarnate or taking on people, influencing people, to the extent that it's, again, this kind of incarnated reality. Now, I'll also say this, think carefully about this: peoples and crowds and nations and tongues. We've had that before several times in the book. And I remember studies that have traced this through the book of Revelation. And here, though, this is, again, it ties into the mark of the beast for me, because we're saying that this influence is such that it goes through peoples and nations and crowds and tongues or languages.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pervasive. It's all over the place, and it influences and affects people of every tribe, nation, place, language. That's why I don't think it's just the simple one-dimensional, here's the mark of the beast and that's that. Look at how pervasive it is, or look at how widespread across peoples, across time, that this work is. So I don't think this, again, it's just another one of these ways to think about, what is the influence of the beast look like? Is it just a raising up one historical figure, one president, or one person, and that's it? Or is it much more subtle, and it influences widely across nation, people, time, and place? That's why I get a little, I just think it's not as clean cut when you hear this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's not just like those 7 kings are like 7 rulers that we can pinpoint in the world or something like that.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. It's like, well, I think it's much more pervasive. It's much more ubiquitous, you could even say, maybe. Yeah. When you describe it that way.
Especially since we're talking about participation. So you can participate by drinking the cup of either of these, the church,
that's right,
or the anti-type church, antichrist church, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So there is like a pervasiveness there too.
Yeah, I think so. So you have the tribes, nations, people, and then in verse 16, it's really fascinating, because the 10 horns that you saw, they and the beast will hate the prostitute. Now, I thought they were chummy. I thought they were getting along, right? They'll make her desolate and naked and devour her flesh and burn her up with fire. Which, man, even this sounds eerily similar to our Lord. Made desolate and stripped and...
I mean, we devour his flesh now.
Devoured. I mean, the two kinds of devouring in Revelation. So it's just, I mean, it's striking. But okay, here's the thing. Is this not the self-defeating nature of evil? Do they eat their own?
For me first, yeah.
They'll hate the prostitute. I thought they were in this one flesh union. I thought it was chummy. And they get, I mean, all this stuff, I don't know. This thing's in bed with that thing. But then all of a sudden they hate each other. Or all of a sudden it's you're dead to me. Or it's they eat their own. The way that evil works, it sacrifices its own all the time. And I wonder if this is, I think this is getting at that evil, even when it does have its influence or when it does its thing, it's becoming incarnate in all of these people, the nations and tribes and languages. It won't last. It's self-defeating. It'll crumble. Earlier today, I was doing a little study of Hagar, and the plan is, Sarah gets testy. The Lord is held back from bearing. And so she says, go into my servant Hagar. And that's the plan. And then what happens? Well, immediately she slights her mistress, and then she slights her. And it's just a downward spiral. Everything crumbles. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought this was the plan. We're going to, get this kind of you, and we're going to get this together. And, and it's just, and then it just crumbles. It devours itself. It's self-defeating. So that's just a quick thought from earlier in the Bible, but this is also what happens in even the secular versions. We have, this popular person or this company or whatever, they get in bed with some other big thing. And then all of a sudden there's hatred, or you're dead to me. And, I mean, this is just how evil works. It just destroys itself and anybody caught up in its path.
Yeah, that seems right. And it's like I find that even more interesting with the one flesh sort of union, right? Like it's the beast and the woman and the beast. It's like they're together. They're supposed to be this one thing.
That's right.
When you think about like the who is and was and is to come, and you think about like the triune nature of that entity and how it's like perfectly, they communicate perfectly, they're in relation perfectly, and then you have this.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's fascinating.
I know. That's good. I'm glad you brought that up too. Yeah, in the Trinity, you see perfect communion, don't you? Yeah. This kind of the interrelationship, the procession, the equality, the unity, but also the procession and the subjection, voluntarily subjecting, all that.
It makes it interesting because, I mean, we don't have to go too deep into this, but I've been thinking about the question dealing with Gnosticism and Neoplatonism, and like the monad, like the one that Gnosticism and the Neoplatonists have. Like there is a one and all things proceed from that one, but they only have oneness. They don't have plurality in that beginning of that being. And so they have to answer the philosophical question, how do you get multiplicity from unity or oneness? Not even unity, just like oneness, right?
Okay.
And the Christian answer is, well, being itself is one and many, right? That's the first being. And so we can say God can make many because he has many in a certain way, or he is many in a certain way. And not in the same way that he's one, for example, in substance, but he's many in a different way. But here, with the, I guess if you want to say the unity and multiplicity of the antitype, the beast and the woman, you don't have any sort of inner life like that. You don't have the isness. He is not, right? There is no
Yeah.
substance. There is
Yeah.
no good substance that's holding this together.
That's right.
That's keeping the relation together, or keeping the communion together, or anything like that. That's what I
That's
find
right.
interesting. And I think that
Oh,
Platonism and Neoplatonists run into the same problem, but
okay.
because what is it that's holding the multiplicity together in a good way so that it doesn't break down and degrade? Because otherwise you have to say the
Yeah.
material world is bad because it breaks down and degrades and it's
Oh,
evil.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have to say all these other things that follow.
That's right.
And or you have to make the material world God itself. And the
Yeah.
Logos is in the world in the way that the world is God. So there's your unity. But Neoplatonists don't even do that. So there's just this really interesting, and I think the Satan or the beast and the woman run into the same problem here. There is no goodness. There is no isness or being from them. And so they just give you destruction.
Yeah, good. I like that. You know what this reminds me of? When Jesus is accused of having a demon, and he cast out demons by the prince of demons, that kind of stuff, and he gathers them together, and he's like, how can Satan cast out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. If a house is divided, it's not going to stand. And then if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he cannot stand, but is coming to an end. And this reminds me of that, like Satan rising up against himself. It's like, it's kind of profound to think about, because it's like the Lord making him be defeated by his own devices. It's just,
it's terrifying too, because if you're part of that, if you participate in that, you're not going to beat Satan. Like, he will devour you. You will be the one trampled. You will be the one destroyed.
That's exactly right. Yeah. You get caught up in that, and that's why it's divisive. When you see division, sin divides, Satan divides. Satan's defeating himself. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say, this is why I hate that phrase. I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven. You're not going to reign.
Yeah, no,
you're going to be
definitely not.
You're going to be trampled. You're going to
definitely not. I know.
Satan will devour you like he devours the woman.
That's right. That's right. Devour her flesh and burn. I think there's probably some irony there. Flesh and blood. Yeah, no, you're going to get devoured. And again, this devouring language all throughout Revelation. He wants to devour the child, but he wants to devour Christians. You'll get devoured. So you're either devouring the Christ child, like in the good way, or you will be devoured by the one who wants to devour the Christ child, that kind of stuff. So, and the Lord is in control. The Lord is doing this. That's verse 17. God has put it into their hearts to carry out his purpose. So he's orchestrating this. It's in his providential care that he does this. He puts it into their heart to carry out his purpose by being of one mind and handing over the royal power to the beast until the words of God are fulfilled. So it's like this, the Lord is pushing all this forward in his grand plan here. And he's ensuring that they will be, I think of it as self-defeating, and it's tied to his word going forth earlier in the book. It's like the word of the Lord needs to be fulfilled. It will accomplish all the things for which he sends it. And here I think you see that too, where it's he's putting it into their hearts to do this, and it's driven by the word. He said it will happen. The word will make it happen. Just like the word, stormy wind and hail, frost, obeying his word. Like his word is behind all of creation, keeping things going. The rain, the sun, all that is being obedient to his word. And it's just fascinating to think about, because it's like It's like the devil himself is forced to be obedient to the word of God too, as it goes forth and it fulfills what the Lord says about the devil, his kingdom, and how it will be divided and devour itself and be self-defeating and all of that. So
that's
it's
good stuff.
It's an interesting tie to the word there, I think. So
Well, I also can't help but notice that it's carrying out the word of God is the thing giving the unifying power at all.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's really interesting.
yeah, yeah. And then that last verse is just, well, what should we say? The woman that you saw is the great city that has dominion over the kings of the earth. So then it gets us thinking. We've had talk of prostitute and harlot and all that. Babylon. Okay, now we're thinking city. How, in what way can, whole cities, this other pseudo church be manifested through people, through rulers, through institutions, you could say. And again, you think of some of the corruptions that have happened in churchly institutions.
The corruption. Yeah, I like what you're saying.
It's a thing.
It fits with your waters idea on, or the waters notion on verse 15 and earlier.
Yeah,
too. That's
right.
So pervasive.
It is so pervasive, and affects not just people, but institutions, nations, to varying extents throughout the time. So it's a marvelous chapter. It's proclaiming an awareness about how this false church looks. Maybe looks marvelous or something captivating, and yet beyond guard. This is how it sets itself up. This is its end result. And in chapter 18, the next one is a whole look at that very fall of Babylon. It's a long one, and I don't always teach it. And to be honest, I don't always teach it in my undergraduate course. Sometimes I jump right to 19, but chapter 18 is all about the fall of Babylon. Like its end is destruction. And it is pretty interesting. There are little tidbits here and there that maybe we can think through, but that's the comfort that we have there. The Lord knows what he's doing as that word goes forth. Its end is destruction. So that's the next week chapter there.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So I'm looking at the time, and I was just reminded daylight savings time. So I'm like, oh man,
that's right.
I better get my kids to bed. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thanks for joining. I do want to just say one more time, if you haven't, go check out Concordia Bible Institute. I'll just say there's a ton of stuff there. You will not be bored. Tons of stuff to listen to. So if you're a Christian looking for, even a not a Christian, I guess, it's a new podcast to listen to, go check this out.
I gotta get that 400th video.
I know, get that 400th out. That's crazy. All right, any last things you want to say about Revelation 17 or 18?
Tune in next time. We'll talk about why it's comforting for us Christians that Babylon is doomed to be destroyed.
Yeah, that was interesting. I really find that the idea that evil just devours itself. I mean, it's so pervasive. In Scripture, but I've never noticed it in Revelation like that. That's fascinating.
Yeah. It's like, again, it's kind of like, it reminds me of our Lord's preaching about Satan divided against, or Satan rising up against Satan. It kind of sounds really like, what the heck's that all about? And yet when you read in Revelation, it's like, oh man, yeah, they were chummy and then now they hate each other, and that kind of thing is, that just shows you the inner workings of evil and how it's, again, self-defeating. So, okay. Yeah, I don't know of anything else in the Bible quite like it as far as that goes.
Yeah.
So
it's also interesting, and I'll end it here because I could go on this topic for a while, but when you read like Homer's Iliad, for example, they have the same, like, I think it's just obvious in the world that evil sort of ends poorly for others.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
and I think because how does Homer is like rage son of Peleus or something like that. And they're
Okay,
talking
yeah.
about Achilles' rage and how his rage brought the downfall of himself and his friends and
Yeah.
all these other people. So it's just like there it is again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's super interesting to me. Anyway, well, join us next Saturday, same time, same place, 7:10
Let's
p.m. Central.
do it.
And we'll be covering Revelation 18,
Let's do it.
the downfall of Babylon. All right. Thanks again for joining, Brian. Let's see
Hey,
you. See you
absolutely.
next time.
Thanks for having me.